Chapter 1. The Golden Age. From the mid-2000s to the mid-2010s, JYP was completely untouchable. Wonder Girls weren't just Korea's girl group, they were the first to seriously break into the American market. Their song Nobody wasn't just a song, it was a cultural phenomenon that got them performing in the US TV long before K-pop's global wave hit. 2PM was a marketing dream. Beast idols who could sing, dance, and charm in variety shows. Misa brought a more mature, girl powerage with Suzy becoming the nation's first love. Even if SM had more polished groups, and YG had the cool factor, JYP's roster felt diverse and relatable. You didn't have to be a die-hard fan to know who they were. The real crown jewel of this era came in 2015 with Twice. Songs like Cheer Up, TD, and Like You weren't just hits. They turned Twice into a national treasure. At one point, Twice was pulling in so much revenue that they were essentially JYP's financial stability. Their cute, bubbly concepts, bright visuals, and relentless promotion schedule made them unavoidable in Korea. This period cemented JYP as the friendly, safe Big Three company. While Asking was accused of being too strict and YG constantly faced scandals, JYP sold the image of a wholesome artist-first home. But that same shape approach that built fan trust also laid the groundwork for a problem that we'll get into: stagnation. Chapter 2. Playing it too safe. JYP's biggest flaw: they got too comfortable. While HYBE and SM started experimenting with concepts, sounds, and aggressive global marketing, JYP kept rinsing and repeating the formulas that had worked before. Twice was the first victim of this complacency. From 2016 to 2020, they were pushed into 3 to 4 comebacks a year, often without significant stylistic changes. For years, fans begged for a darker or more mature concept, but JYP resisted. When More and More and Eyes Wide Open finally gave Twice a visual shift, the exhaustion was already visible. The group powered through, but the magic of the early years felt harder to capture. GOT7 was another wasted opportunity. Just by having the strong global fan base and members who could easily break into solo markets, JYP constantly gave them lackluster promotions, questionable creative decisions, and minimal budget. By 2021, all 7 members declined to renew their contract. That's not just a problem. That's an entire boy group walking out of the door at once. Itzy had one of the most memorable debuts of the 4th generation with Dala Dala in 2019, but after the girl crush novelty wore off, JYP failed to give them a consistent identity. Songs started to feel repetitive, styling choices missed the mark, and fan engagement was beginning to slip. Chapter 3. NMIXX Identity Crisis. When NMIXX debuted in early 2022, JYP hyped them up because the group that would quote revolutionize K-pop via their concept of mixed pop genre blending tracks intentionally crossing styles made so, but instead of sounding groundbreaking, their debut single Odato came off as a disjointed and overcomplicated, feeling more than 3 half-finished songs stitched together than a daring innovation. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Fans were confused and critics were unimpressed, and the group gained reputation as the frustratingly chaotic K-pop act. Rather than listening to feedback, JYP doubled down. The following singles, Dice and Young, Dumb, Stupid, fun to the same experimental structure, doing nothing to clarify their identity or sound. By the time they released Soar in December of 2023, they were fighting an uphill battle to regain fans' trust. Although Soar offered a more accessible and chantable melody, the damage to their image had already manifested in engagement numbers. Don't believe me? Well, Soar earned only 8.3 million YouTube views in its first week, dropping 27% from the view count from the previous comeback. That's not small kindergarten-level buffering. It's a serious signal of faded hype. At the same time, NMIXX struggled with falling album sales. Their first week Hanteo sales for Oh My God These Names, FE304, Break, hit about 618,550 units, but that number was a significant dip compared to the previous comebacks like ENTWRF, which sold over 1 million copies in its debut week. Contrast that with their 4th mini-album FE304 Forward, which clocked a first-day Hanteo sale of 435,914 and rose to 702,876 units in the week. While that might feel like a respectable in isolation, it's a far cry from the explosive early sales of other 4th Gen X like I.V, whose EPS routinely sell over 1 million in its first week, some even hitting that mark in under 24 hours. Even domestically, NMIXX's momentum is stalling. For 2025, They've logged just 751,232 total sales, a steep drop from the 1.45 million in 2024, and nearly happy with a sold-after peak in 2023. Chapter 4. Stray Kids, JYP's Lifeline. Stray Kids are undeniably JYP's backbone in 2025. Their success is built on the rear level of creative autonomy. 3 Racha, composed of leader Bang Chan, Muscle Man and part-time Dweki Seo Changbin, and the secret maknae Han Jisung, write, produce, and shape their music, bringing authenticity and a distinctive edge that sets them apart in an increasingly formulaic industry. That independence helped transform Stray Kids into global icons. Their sales and chart performance underscore their influence majorly. The album 5-star pre-orders surpassed 4.9 million, becoming the most pre-ordered K-pop release at the time. Upon release, it shattered records by selling 2.39 million copies its first day, and 4.62 million copies in its first week, making it the fastest-selling album in South Korean history. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, marking Stray Kids' 3rd consecutive chart topper, and dominated charge for multiple weeks after. However, even Stray Kids' momentum has shown signs of strain. Although exact recent first-day stream counts aren't published, community tracking indicates that their latest title track just earned 1.3 million views in 24 hours, a 69% drop from the 4.3 million that Maniac received. While their global touring and fandom remain massive, the visible dip in viewership signals that oversaturation and lack of pacing may be taking their toll. If Stray Kids begins to wobble, JYP doesn't have another mega act behind them. The level of commercial and cultural impact that Stray Kids carry is immense, but it's also precarious. As long as they stay healthy, JYP survives, but if the overwork catches up to them, there's no net to catch them when they fall.
Okay, now we're getting to my favorite part. I don't know why, because I hate math. I hate it so much. Disgusting. Like, you put a math sheet in front of me, I'm ripping it up and throwing it back in your face. But I love talking about the financial reality of like what they're doing today. I don't know, it's just so interesting to me. So, yeah. The rest of this video is going to be like all financial stuff, so if you don't care, you can just skip it, because it's literally just going to be about like their revenue and things like that. And if you're not interested in that, just skip it. You're not missing anything. I think I told you the most important part in the main video. So, oh my god, I'm yapping. Okay, so the official. Okay, I'm just gonna shut up and just gonna start at 8 minutes. Okay.
In Q2 2024, revenue plummeted by 37%, and net income collapsed by 94%. Profit margin nosedived from 17% to a staggering 1.5%, a major red flag visible to everyone watching. Despite small glimmers of recovery, the company's profit margins haven't bounced back. For the full year of 2024, they did see a 6.2% increase in revenue to reach 601.8 billion won, or $445.33 million in US terms. But net income still fell 7.3% year over year. Profits and margins followed suit, narrowing from 19% to 16%. That's still far below the 30% profit margins of the earlier years. In Q1 2025, JYP's revenue grew just 3.6% year over year to 606 billion won, which is $450 million USD, showing faster growth on the previous quarter, but not enough to make up for the long-term profit erosion. Essentially, these numbers suggest that JYP is grappling with rising production and marketing costs, flops that landed flat, and the increasing expenses of maintaining a global powerhouse with just one major revenue-generating act.
Have you guys heard about Young Miko and Cat's Eye? I love Young Miko, but I don't know.